Yeah, Pilot Mountain looks pretty much like it always has, at least from a distance, but down here in the mountains forested area, well, you see what happens when you combine weeks of dry weather, a stiff mountain breeze, and one unauthorized campfire. The charred tree trunks left behind by Pilot Mountain's largest wildfire ever.
And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, golden them hills, and it's waiting for me there.
It was really overwhelming watching that mountain. It was almost just like a giant candle right out the back door.
Will Allen searches for the words to describe a different kind of fire, the mountain glowing.
The first Saturday night, it was kind of on the other side of the mountain from us.
The winds blowing.
By Sunday morning, it had wrapped around our side.
The neighbors not knowing.
Then by Sunday night, it looked like the whole thing was on fire.
And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, golden them hills, and it's waiting for me there.
In fact, the whole mountain was on fire, burning just beyond Allen's home and even closer to these cabin homes.
Fire on the mountain, lightning in the air.
We were just within a couple of 100 yards of the fire. With that thing burning, it kind of made you wonder what was going to be left.
Waiting for me there.
What the flames left waiting for these workers at Pilot Mountain State Park was fire damage that temporarily made some trails too dangerous for Pilot Mountain hikers.
We have a fire line that goes all the way around the base of the mountain.
But Thomas Crate, the state park's fire management officer, says this 1,000-acre blaze could have been a lot bigger.
So when we got the call, this is where we made our stance.
And a lot worse, too.
Base.
This is where the flames were, on this side?
Yeah, the flames were on the right, no flames on the left.
And the fire line worked exactly like it was supposed to work.
The fire line worked exactly the way it was supposed to. It did slop over a couple times, but because of the access with the fire lines, we were able to get equipment on it very fast.
It was volunteer firefighters from Mount Airy and surrounding Surry County answering that first alarm at Pilot Mountain, battling more than just the flames that first night.
It was dark already, so other than being able to see the flames, they were trying to track down where the fire was, but they were going over rough terrain. And, you know, on that mountain, any missteps could actually cause some serious injuries.
You know, this was an area right here that from a wildland firefighter's perspective where you would not want to be if fire was coming up through like a little valley or what we call a chimney. It will funnel heat right up through there. The fire will be most intense in this little chimney area, and that's why you're seeing the scorch much higher on these chestnut oaks than, for instance, than we saw on the northern side of the mountain.
Forest Service Ranger Jimmy Holt says the flames were up to 6 feet high, moving both up and down the mountain quickly. And that's when the decision was made to pull firefighters off the mountain. The state's forest fire experts correctly predicting that this blaze on Pilot Mountain would run out of fuel and burn itself out because of what the state calls prescribed burning. We're following the Forest Service up this closed trail of charred trees to the top of Pilot Mountain, where the last big wildfire was back in 2012. Since then, for 10 years now, the state's been setting smaller, controlled fires at Pilot Mountain on purpose, carefully burning away the underbrush and bulldozing these fire lines we walked earlier.
A layer of leaves, a layer of pine needles, a layer of organic matter was much thicker in 2012 than it was before the fire, the wildfire in 2021. So, you know, intensity was much higher in 2012.
And as rangers remember the other older fires here at Pilot Mountain, well, it turns out that the trees have memories too.
So these areas in the tree, these are what we would refer to as fire scars, and they are just wounds that have healed over.
Park Ranger Nicholas Bowman explains that those wounds you see in the tree rings of an old pine that was burned in 2012 are actually a history of Pilot Mountain fires dating back more than 100 years.
So each of these shows a past fire that has come through this area, the area of the forest where this tree was growing.
And Bowman adds that the trees growing today, trees with their own memories of more recent fires, will actually benefit from the blaze that looked so bad to so many, but also did some good here on Pilot Mountain itself.
It will thin out some of the upper story trees, the canopy of the forest, and allow more sunlight to reach the forest floor. And that's really where you get your diversity in a forest. So a lot of what is brown now will green up and recover even after the fire.
It was just crazy how fast it went around.
And those same mountain neighbors who were spared any damage, no homes or private properties affected by the mountain flames, now get to watch a mountain makeover.
We all kind of looked at that mountain, I think in the spring, as almost a renewed sense of everything's going to be okay. And like I said, the mountain seems to be healing itself just fine.
By the way, in case you were wondering, yeah, there's also a taxpayer cost for a wildfire like this. The state estimates that fighting a wildfire costs about $500 an acre, which means the Pilot Mountain fire cost the state about $500,000. The cost of prescribed burning here at Pilot Mountain, only a fraction of that.
We hope you enjoyed the story. If you don't want to miss any more great stories about the Charlotte region, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.